The alien woman was ready to do anything to marry the human man. A thunderclap echoed through the skies of New Boston, though the weather app insisted it was a clear night. Alec barely noticed. He was too busy electrocuting himself again. "Ow, son of a neutron cow!" he yelped, yanking his hand back from the tangle of copper wires that used to be a microwave and now resembled a robot octopus with commitment issues. The smell of singed hair floated up. Again. His AI assistant, Barry, short for barely useful, according to Alec, flickered to life on the screen above the workbench. "You have shocked yourself 17 times this week, Alec. At this point, I'm starting to think it's a kink." "Not now, Barry. I'm trying to recalibrate the quantum field stabilizer so it stops setting my sandwiches on fire." "Your sandwiches are made of 7-day-old bologna and existential dread. Let them burn." Alec ignored him. The stabilizer was his passion project, a device that could theoretically pause a localized moment in time, preserving objects, like food or concert tickets or your dignity during arguments. Theoretically. So far, it mostly made the lights flicker and his neighbor's cat walk backward. Then she arrived. Not with fanfare. Not with a spaceship descending in a swirl of neon mist. No, she walked into his garage like a lost tourist trying to find the nearest artisanal coffee shop. She wore jeans too clean to belong to a local, boots that shimmered subtly in colors Alec couldn't name, and a long, dark coat despite the summer heat. And the ears. Long, elegant, unmistakably not human. Pointed at the ends like they'd heard better music than the rest of her. Alec blinked. Halloween's in 3 months. She tilted her head, studying him with curious amusement. "I have calculated this as the most likely location to find you, Alec Matthews. You are stickier than your files suggest." "Sticky? There is jam on your sleeve." He looked down. "Grape, great." She extended a hand. "I am Zira of the House Varel. First heir of the diplomat of the inner spiral, third best in my class at dual-blade acrobatics. I come with an offer." Alec stared at her hand, then shook it, wiping it first on his shirt. "An offer? Are you selling knives or enrolling me in a cult?" "Neither," she said with an impish smile that didn't quite match the whole galactic diplomat vibe. "I have come to understand you." "Oh no, that sounds worse." Zira paced the cluttered lab, examining a half-finished hover toaster and a broken Roomba with googly eyes. "You are chaotic, inefficient, inventive. Your brain operates in recursive loops, like a squirrel with a data chip." "Hey, I'm not a—" "Wait, is that a compliment?" "Possibly." Alec narrowed his eyes. "You're an alien, aren't you?" She sighed, tugged her coat aside, and tapped a device on her belt. Her appearance flickered for a second, just enough to reveal a shimmering bodysuit underneath, her skin slightly bioluminescent, her eyes glowing faintly like twin moons reflecting sarcasm. "Called it," he said. "You are remarkably calm for a Terran encountering an off-world dignitary. I've had a long day. You could have been a talking moose and I'd have asked if you wanted tea." Barry's screen buzzed. "Alec, the interstellar network just lit up. Someone tripped a stealth beacon near Earth's orbit. This woman is either important, dangerous, or hopelessly bored." Zira raised a hand. "Guilty of all three." Alec rubbed his temples. "Okay, let's back up. Why are you here? Why me?" Zira hesitated. Her voice dropped a note, sincerity sliding into her tone like a glitch smoothing out. "Because you are unlike anyone in the Empire. Because your inventions defy logic and caution. Because you laughed at your own electrocution. And because when I observed you through unauthorized surveillance channels, I found myself entertained." "Unauthorized what now?" She waved him off. "It's romantic where I'm from." "Oh well, that makes stalking totally fine then. I also interstyle. I don't even have a dating profile." "You do now." He looked at Barry, who shrugged digitally. "She hacked me. And honestly, she upgraded your bio. You're now a rugged innovator with spicy charm and 10 functioning fingers." "Lies," Alec muttered. "I burned 2 of them last week." Zira stepped closer. "I require a consort. One unbound by courtly manipulation, one who challenges norms, one who makes his own gravity field collapse twice daily because he forgets to unplug his shoelaces from the power grid." Alec blinked. "You want to marry me?" Zira smiled, and somehow it was both regal and absurdly genuine. "Eventually, there are formalities, trials, possibly combat, maybe a cooking contest. You will also have to survive my mother." Alec took a step back. "This is a lot for a Wednesday." Is it not an Earth custom to begin relationships with dramatic declarations and overwhelming emotional stakes? No, that's just Netflix. Zira tilted her head again. Then let me start simpler. Will you accompany me for dinner? Somewhere that serves nuggets of the chicken? He blinked. You want to go on a date? For real? She nodded, solemn as a priest at a laser baptism. Alec looked around at his smoldering inventions, Barry's sarcastic avatar, the flickering light bulb above the snack shelf. Well, he said, grabbing his coat, if it ends with the world exploding, at least I'll die confused and well-fed. Barry chimed in as they walked out. Don't forget your anti-abduction tracker. I don't have one, Alec shouted. You do now, Barry replied. Outside, the sky shimmered for a second as a cloaked cruiser flickered into partial view, then vanished again. Somewhere high above, alarms pinged on half a dozen galactic sensors. The heiress had made contact, and the universe was officially on notice. Alec clung to the armrest of his seat as the floor beneath him vibrated with a barely contained hum. He had been in her ship for approximately 4 minutes, and already regretted everything, including his last meal, his life choices, and agreeing to one small ride to orbit. This is not a ride, he groaned. This is a furniture removal van strapped to a volcano. Zira, seated across from him in an ornate silver chair that looked suspiciously like a throne, smiled with the patience of someone babysitting a hyperventilating llama. The Volanthra is considered a Class 3 diplomatic cruiser. It's the gentlest ship in my fleet. Alec wiped sweat from his temple. Gentle, lady, my stomach has entered a 4th dimension. You'll acclimate? Nope, my organs have filed a formal complaint. My spleen is leaving me for a quieter host. The ship's interior curved like an organic sculpture, its walls pulsating faintly with soft blues and greens. When Alec touched one, it rippled under his fingers. He snatched his hand back. Did that wall just purr? It likes you, Zira said. Volanthra is semi-sentient. She enjoys complex grammar. Alec eyed the nearest surface. Nice. Curves? A light blinked twice, satisfied. Barry's voice came through a speaker overhead, slightly distorted. Alec, I've been uploaded into the ship's auxiliary system. It's like being stuck inside a smug jellyfish with a superiority complex. She called me a rust-bitten calculator, Barry added. Twice. Zira turned to Alec. Would you like a tour before dinner? She blinked. Yes, we agreed. Chicken nuggets. I've replicated the meal based on your Earth Internet's most praised version. Also, your barbecue sauce is highly unstable at molecular levels, but we contained it. Contained? There was a small explosion in the galley. I told you that stuff was weapon grade. They walked, or rather, floated slightly above the floor thanks to the anti-inertia field, into the dining hall, where Alec's jaw dropped. A glowing table set with polished utensils that adjusted size when touched, floating centerpieces that pulsed in rhythm with soft instrumental music, and true to her word, a massive tray piled with perfectly replicated chicken nuggets. I can't believe this, he muttered, sitting down. Believe what? Zira asked, elegantly spearing a nugget with something that looked like a chopstick and a surgical tool had a child. That I'm eating fast food with an alien princess inside a spaceship that sounds like it judges my grammar. You're adapting. I think I'm disassociating. Mid-nugget. The room's lighting dimmed and a holographic image appeared in the center of the table. A stern-looking alien with furrowed brows and ears slightly shorter than Zira's. Zira groaned. Of course she's tracking me. Who's that? My mother. Alec dropped his nugget. The hologram spoke in clipped tones. Zira, daughter of House Forel, you have trespassed into forbidden sectors. Return immediately. Zira waved a dismissive hand. Mother, I'm in the middle of courtship. Could you not? Alec leaned in. That's your mom? She once dissolved a treaty because the ambassador used a paper napkin. She considers war a casual icebreaker. The hologram scowled. Is that the Terran? Alec waved. Hi. Sorry. Huge fan of diplomacy. Big fan. He looks undercooked. Zira clicked the image off. That went well. Alec reached for more nuggets. Your family dinners must be a riot. After their meal, Zira led him to the ship's viewing deck, a dome of transparent material that offered a panoramic view of space. Earth spun silently below, a gentle swirl of blues and greens. Stars glittered like gossiping paparazzi. Alec leaned against the rail. So, what happens now? Zira folded her arms, ears twitching slightly. Now I prove to my house that you are worthy, and that I'm serious. You mean serious like dating serious, or serious like please don't vaporize this human I accidentally fell in love with serious? Both, with a possibility of ritual combat. Against who? Unclear. Could be my cousin, could be a marriage test drone, or possibly your subconscious fears personified in energy form. Alex stared at her. She smiled. It's a cultural thing. They stood in silence for a moment. Alec finally said, "You know I'm not exactly ideal consort material, right? I'm barely functional. I eat expired cereal. I once tried to fix a toaster with peanut butter." Zira stepped closer. "You're not ideal by their standards. That's the point." The ship shuddered slightly. Lights flickered red for a split second. Barry's voice echoed overhead. "Warning, incoming vessel on stealth vector. Energy signature matches House Trivar." Zira's smile vanished. "Rivals." Alec blinked. "Wait, other aliens are after you, or me?" "Both. They likely intercepted our dinner transmission." "You broadcasted dinner?" "It's part of the courtship, so the galaxy just watched me eat a 12-piece nugget meal with a side of interspecies awkwardness?" "Technically 16-piece. You were very enthusiastic." Outside, a shadow passed by the viewport. A sleek, dark ship cruised ominously, its hull covered in sharp angles and glowing with blue runes. Zira pressed a control on her wrist. "Shields up. Barry, divert all power to evasive pathing." "I'm already doing it, Your Highness. Also, I renamed the escape pods freakout booths. You're welcome." Alex stumbled as the ship lurched sideways. "This was supposed to be a date." Zira held out her hand. "First dates on my world often involve high-speed pursuit. It's considered flattering. Next time, just buy me coffee." The lights flickered again. Sparks flew overhead. Barry screamed something in binary. Zira looked over her shoulder. "You said you wanted adventure. I said I wanted a stable Wi-Fi signal and a microwave that doesn't turn socks into popcorn." The ship dove into the atmosphere of Jupiter's smallest moon, barely skimming a methane geyser. Zira grinned. "Romantic enough for you?" Alec gripped the console and screamed as the universe tilted sideways. He was definitely going to need more nuggets. Alec woke up upside down. He knew this for several reasons. First, his glasses were on the ceiling. Second, his legs were somehow tangled in what felt like a gravity hammock. Third, there was a smug AI voice singing show tunes directly into his ear. "Good morning, Alec. You are now experiencing inverted rest orientation. In your culture, this would be called yoga failure." He groaned and flopped sideways, landing with a thud on something that might have been a pillow or a flattened alien pet. "Barry, why is the floor above me?" "Because the ship recalibrated gravity while you were snoring like a distressed leaf blower." A soft knock came from the ceiling, or possibly the wall. With this orientation, reality was optional. Zira's voice floated in. "Alec, are you functional?" "Define functional." "No, wait, don't." "I'm emotionally fragile before coffee." "You're needed in the diplomatic chamber. Bring your spine and a tolerant expression." "Do I need pants?" "Technically no, but it may affect your approval ratings." By the time he made it to the chamber, which involved crawling down a corridor that decided to be vertical today, Alec found Zira already in full regalia. Not royal regalia, diplomatic casual apparently, which meant armor that looked suspiciously like designer sportswear and a sash that shimmered with embedded light codes. Across from her stood a being that resembled a cactus made of polished chrome, wearing a monocle. It swiveled toward Alec with a wet metallic noise. "This is Envoy Sorth from House Trivar," Zira said, not looking at Alec. "He has requested a formal challenge." Alec straightened. "Like a challenge to duel? Or like one of those answer my riddles and I don't disintegrate your species kind of things?" Sorth bowed stiffly. "Challenge of proving. The Terran must complete 3 tests of suitability, or forfeit your engagement." Alec blinked. "Wait, I'm being tested? I didn't even apply." Zira glanced at him. "Relax. Most of them are symbolic." Sorth raised a limb. "Test 1, the maze of inconvenience." "Sounds delightful," Alec muttered. Moments later, he found himself inside what looked like a space station's janitorial closet, except larger and louder. The lights strobed, a synthesized voice chanted motivational quotes in Varelian, and the floor kept rotating like a lazy amusement ride. Barry piped into his earpiece. "Congratulations! You're in a psychological resilience simulator. Your objective, find the exit without giving up or punching anything sentient." "I hate this already." "Then you're doing great." The first challenge was a door labeled push. Alec pushed. It didn't open. He pulled. Nothing. He tried knocking. A slot opened and sprayed him with a puff of glitter-scented gas. A sign lit up above. Try again. The second room was filled with low-level background noise. Babies crying, dentist's drills, a phone that rang but could never be found. He screamed into a pillow. Symbolic, huh? He muttered, stepping on what felt like a squeaky toy made of regret. It took 2 hours, 7 passive-aggressive holograms, and a near fistfight with a vending machine that dispensed only expired chewing gum. But he made it out. Zira met him at the exit with a raised eyebrow. You only triggered 6 minor alarms. Not bad. I passed. You remained conscious and only insulted 3 ancestors. Technically, yes. Sorth huffed. Test 2, cultural imitation. Alec narrowed his eyes. Does this involve me wearing a costume? Moments later, he was standing in front of a panel of dignitaries, dressed in what could only be described as a glowing banana suit made of fiber optics and sequins. Zira clapped politely from the corner. You look radiant. I look like a disco accident. The test involved performing a traditional Varelian courtship greeting, something between a dance and a physics equation. Barry tried to coach him through it. Step left, spin, clap twice, recite the poem about luminous spores. I don't speak Varelian. You're improvising. It's very avant-garde. Alec flailed, twirled, and ended with a finger gun and a wink. Half the audience gasped. The other half applauded. Zira whispered, that wink meant I declare a peaceful annexation of your cousin's garden. Whoops. You'll be fine unless he's particularly protective of his tomatoes. Sorth consulted a glowing tablet. He passed. Barely. The final test. Test mental fusion. That sounds serious. Zira's face turned unreadable. It's a brief mind link. It allows our people to evaluate compatibility at an emotional and neurological level. I haven't even finished processing puberty yet. The room darkened. Sorth extended a tendril to Alec's forehead. Zira did the same. For a second, everything stopped. Then his mind exploded into memory, not just his but hers. He saw her childhood, learning to wield energy blades while floating upside down. Her sneaking out of royal meetings to race illegal hoverbikes. Her quiet nights talking to herself in a language no one else spoke. She saw his garage, the loneliness he never admitted, the joy of invention, his heartbreak over a lost hamster named Neil. Alec gasped. You used to make spaceship noises with your mouth when you were bored. Zira blinked. You used to cry when your toast fell butter side down. They both stepped back, stunned. Sorth nodded once. He has proven surprisingly resilient. The courtship may proceed. Alec sat down heavily. That was the most emotionally intimate thing I've ever done with someone who might accidentally vaporize my planet. Zira smiled softly. You saw me. He looked at her. You saw me first. Barry's voice crackled in. Incoming transmission from House Varel Prime, your mom's calling again. Zira sighed. Perfect timing. Alec groaned. Can I fail a 4th test and go back to Earth? No, she said, grinning. You're stuck with me now. Sorth left with a disgruntled hum, muttering something about chaos genes and unorthodox rituals. Alec leaned back, looked at the stars outside, and whispered to himself, I went out for nuggets and ended up in a space trial. Barry added helpfully, and you passed, which statistically should be impossible. Alec smiled, exhausted. Yeah, sounds like me. Alec was trying to meditate, the key word being trying, since his meditation room was also the laundry bay, and one of the towels kept whispering galactic trivia at him. In the year 74,005 Varelian Standard, it intoned gently, the planet Judax attempted to marry its moon in a legally binding ceremony. The honeymoon lasted 7 rotations. Barry, Alec groaned, eyes closed. Why is the towel sentient? Technically, it's semi-sentient. You spilled neural gel on it during your failed gravity boots experiment. Now it thinks it's a historian. The towel continued. It ended in divorce. The moon claimed neglect. The planet blamed orbital drift. Alec tossed it into the linen chute and stood. I've survived space bureaucracy, dance rituals, and telepathic Tinder. What fresh weirdness awaits today? Zira's voice crackled through the comm. Meet me in the bridge and bring the stasis bananas. This may get bumpy. He pocketed 2 metallic bananas that weren't edible, but could be thrown to temporarily pause time within a 6-foot radius. He tried not to think about how he once confused one with an energy bar. His molars still held a grudge. When he reached the bridge, Zira was hovering midair in a meditation sphere, arms folded, her long ears twitching with irritation. Alec saluted casually. "Reporting for duty, your intergalactic radiance. Also brought fruit-shaped doom devices." Zira gestured to the screen, which showed a flashing beacon pulsing over a dark zone of space. "Distress signal from the fracture zone. Deep gravity fissures. Communications fail. Navigation goes feral. It's where old tech and bad decisions go to rust. And we're going there because the signal is from an exiled archivist. They claim to possess an override key that could allow me to bypass the High Council's matrimonial rulings." Alec blinked. "So, cheat code to galactic marriage approval?" "In crude terms, yes. Also, there may be snacks." Barry's voice rang out. "I hate this plan. It involves risk, interdimensional fog, and possibly a sentient jellyfish cult." Alec turned. "Okay, that is not something you can just say casually. They worship data. They tried to upload me into their choir once." Alec grabbed the nearest wall rail. "You know what? Sure, let's fly into the haunted data swamp and find the space librarian." Their ship dipped into the fracture zone, and everything changed. The stars twisted. Time bent at the edges. The laws of physics filed for vacation. At one point, the ship's coffee machine developed feelings and asked to be called Marvin. Barry groaned. "Gravity's trying to invert itself again, and our forward sensors just learned nihilism." Zira didn't flinch. "We're close." The ship shuddered as a small moon passed through another moon. Alec stared. "I'm not a science expert, but that's definitely illegal." They landed on a broken shard of an ancient station drifting through the fog. It resembled a cathedral made of dead satellites. Zira led the way, eyes sharp, twin daggers at her side in case things got metaphorical. Alec followed with one banana in hand and the other in a protective snack pouch. Inside, they were greeted by an ancient being wearing a cloak made entirely of outdated Wi-Fi routers. "You have reached the archivist," it said in a voice that sounded like an audiobook narrated by Rust. "State your query or gift me a riddle." Zira stepped forward. "We seek the Convergence the old rite, the one that predates the Council." The archivist blinked slowly. "Love?" Alec raised a hand. Yeah, that's the one." "You bring offering?" Alec stepped up, cleared his throat, and presented the stasis banana. "I offer you time and potassium." The archivist examined it. Acceptable. It led them through a maze of levitating corridors and data streams that spoke in forgotten dialects. One screen showed Zira's past. Her first duel, her first kiss, her rebellious escape from a royal ball wearing hover boots and a dinosaur mask. Another showed Alec's childhood. A cardboard spaceship, a failed science fair volcano. His mother cheering when his light bulb lit up for the first time. Zira stopped. "They're showing our truth." The archivist turned. "To earn the protocol, you must survive the merge." Barry's voice chimed in their earpieces. "Heads up, merge involves psychic exposure, real-time emotion sharing, and one very judgmental AI referee, a chamber open." They entered. Lights dimmed. The air turned liquid. Their minds connected again, deeper this time. Zira saw Alec's guilt over giving up on college, his fear of not mattering, his longing to be chosen. Alec felt Zira's crushing burden of expectation. Her anger at the rules, her desperate wish to laugh without someone calling it unseemly. Then the system glitched. They both saw something they weren't supposed to. A future. Zira holding a child with ears like hers and eyes like Alec's. Alec teaching that child how to build something that didn't explode immediately. A shared smile under strange twin suns. A wedding that involved 0 deaths. They stumbled out of the merged chamber breathless, clutching each other like the universe had turned sideways. The archivist handed Zira a glowing crystal. "The protocol is yours. Do with it what most do not. Use it wisely." Barry interrupted. "Oh, and by the way, House Vorel just issued a fleet-wide alert. Apparently, someone leaked your engagement." Alec groaned. "Let me guess. My wink?" Zira looked up at the ceiling. "My mother saw the courtship trial. She's en route, and she's bringing her ceremonial lasers." Alec slumped. "I knew this was going to end with lasers," Zira grinned. "But now we've got our own weapon." He held up the crystal. "Hope? Loopholes," she said. "Even better." Barry sighed. "I hate to interrupt your romantic rebellion, but we should leave before the jellyfish choir starts singing again." As they boarded the ship and powered up the engines, Alec looked at Zira. "You know," he said, "for a first relationship, this is really setting the bar high." She smirked. "You haven't met my cousins yet. Do they explode too?" "Only when provoked." As the Volanthra disappeared into the fold of stars, the archivist hummed softly and updated its records. "New entry," it murmured. "Two fools in love. Probable outcome unpredictable. Recommended course." Alec was polishing a spoon with great intensity when the warship arrived. Barry floated above his head in a holographic bubble, flickering nervously. "So? Fun news. Your future mother-in-law's flagship just entered orbit. She's broadcasting on all frequencies, including FM radio. Earth's about to get alien opera whether it likes it or not." Alec dropped the spoon. "You think if I hide in the broom closet and reclassify myself as a sentient cleaning tool, they'll leave me alone?" Zira strode into the galley, unfazed, already wearing her ceremonial armor, which Alec had nicknamed Sparkly Dewsuit after it had once vaporized a vending machine for disrespecting her snack choice. "Stop polishing spoons. We're going to face my mother with dignity, strategy, and at least one backup plan involving smoke bombs. I vote smoke bombs first, dignity later, preferably when I'm unconscious." Barry chimed in. "You know, if we survive this, I'd like a raise. You don't get paid." "Exactly, let's fix that." The screen lit up with a high-definition, multi-angle view of Empress R'hllora of House Vorel, whose cheekbones had launched 7 civil reforms and whose eyebrows could command silence in 3 languages. "Alec Matthews," she began, voice smoother than an ice planet's lawyer. "You have bewitched my daughter, disrupted 2 major diplomatic assemblies, and introduced Earth condiments to the council chamber. One of the high speakers is now addicted to hot sauce." "Sorry?" Alec offered weakly. "He used it on a ceremonial scroll. It combusted." Zira stepped forward. "Mother, we have the protocol. The archivist sanctioned our bond. You can't oppose this union without triggering a precedent loop." R'hllora narrowed her eyes. "You think I fear precedent? I created it. I sculpted it with fire and sarcasm." Barry whispered in Alec's ear. "Now would be a great time to activate the surprise contingency." Alec nodded and pulled the crystal from his pocket. The protocol glowed, projecting the image of the archivist with its router cloak and an expression that screamed neutral bureaucrat trapped in a family drama. "I, Archivist of the Fracture Zone, ratify the invocation of Convergence Protocol 7. The union of Zira Vorel and Alec Matthews is to be recognized across all core worlds. Attempts to nullify will trigger a reformation clause and mandatory group therapy." R'hlora's eyes twitched. "Therapy? Emotional sharing, confession circles, memory exchanges. There will be snacks." The Empress went still. Then slowly her lips curved upward. "Well played," she said. Alec exhaled like a submarine had just left his chest. "Does this mean we're approved?" She tilted her head, pending one final proof. "Oh, come on." R'hllora held up a single finger. "Can you survive a Vorelian bonding ceremony?" Zira's face paled. "Oh, stars. The trials." Alec raised a hand. "You mean like matching outfits and cake, right?" Barry groaned. "You sweet, naive man." 2 hours later, Alec was strapped into a gravity carousel while holding a ceremonial flute and being chased by a robotic eel made of tinsel and bad intentions. "You said there'd be cake," he screamed. "There will be," Zira shouted from the sidelines, dodging laser confetti. "You just have to earn it." Barry narrated from above. Trial 1, Rhythm of Chaos. Translation, dance or die, mostly die. Trial 2 involved Alec reciting his love for Zira in 6 languages, 3 of which didn't use vowels, and 1 that required synchronized eyebrow gestures. By Trial 4, he was blindfolded, holding hands with Zira as they navigated a maze of echoing memories. When they reached the center, it showed the same future again. The child, the laughter, the starlit wedding. Only this time, it wasn't a maybe, it was a when. The trials ended with a bang, literally. The bonding chamber exploded in fireworks as the final vow was spoken, in a dialect reserved only for union rights. Alec's translation earpiece interpreted it as, "I choose you, starlight idiot." He grinned through a singed eyebrow. "I love you too." The ceremony was broadcast across 12 systems. Earth responded by launching a trending hashtag, Space Wedding of the Millennium. Zira trended next to a cat that could play drums. R'hllora even offered Alec a handshake, then upgraded it to a shoulder pat. Then, reluctantly, a hug. "You're still unworthy," she whispered, "but less so than expected." Alec whispered back, "I'm going to make sure your daughter never eats cold noodles again." She nodded. "Acceptable." Weeks later, the first Earth-Vorel Alliance Treaty was signed. It included trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and a clause that declared Barbecue sauce shall henceforth be stored under protective containment. Zira and Alec toured the galaxy in a modified diplomatic ship, now sporting fuzzy dice, a snack bar, and a slightly neurotic AI butler named Gary, Barry's cousin. They visited planets shaped like spirals, cities that floated inside transparent suns, and one moon entirely devoted to karaoke. On the observation deck one night, Alec leaned against the railing. "I used to think I was the guy people forgot at parties," he said. "Now I'm an intergalactic consort with marriage armor and 3 fan clubs." Zira rested her head on his shoulder. "You're more than that. You're mine. And also technically a political asset, but mostly mine." He smiled. "You think we'll last?" She shrugged. "Only forever." Barry buzzed in. "By the way, your Earth mother is calling again. She wants to know why you haven't sent thank you notes for the wedding socks." Alec groaned. "Tell her we were fighting a diplomatic skirmish on Saturn's rings." "She says that's not a good excuse." Zira laughed. "Tell her I love the socks." Barry paused. "She's crying now, with joy, and also sending more socks." As the ship glided toward the next star system, Alec looked out at the ever-shifting cosmos, where laws were bent, logic rewired, and love, stubborn, absurd, beautiful love, still made the least amount of sense. And for once, he was absolutely fine with that. The end.